Uh, Today, I'm just going to give you a brief tour on this act, which is called Protection of Corruption Act 1988. Now, if you are wondering the fact, why haven't you heard about this act? That's because most of us probably are legally blinded, even though things are there in front of us, we don't see. Even judiciary have failed to see. So this act, 1988, is kind of when it comes to corruption. I think legislation branch and the executive they have made significant improvement when it comes to safeguarding or protecting their corruption and from any kind of uh, persecution by judiciary. So let's start. Uh, I don't think this requires much introduction. Now, originally, for the sake of maybe decency or you know some other reason, in the legislature, this act is known as Prevention of Corruption Act 1888. But अगर आप इसको carefully पढ़ते हैं, if you go through each of the sections, uh, as I said, it's basically Protection of Corruption Act. And the kind of damage this particular act does to the whole constitution and to the whole uh, you know ethos of democracy is astonishing. Now, to understand how this act protects and shield the corruption and the corrupt officials, the politicians, uh, and also executives at the same time, you need to look at Section 19, which talks about mandatory requirement of sanction before you can prosecute anyone. Any anyone in the sense, any police officers, any politicians, any other government officials, who are part of that same executive and legislative fraternity. So, if you put some rationality into it, or if you just try to put it in some analogy, it's like this कि सोचो चोरों का एक ग्रुप है और उस ग्रुप में से कोई चोर चोरी कर रहा है और अगर आप उस चोर को सजा देना चाहते हो तो उसका जो सरदार होगा उससे आपको प्रायर अप्रूवल लेना पड़ेगा, तब जाके उस चोर को सजा दे सकते हो. दैट इज व्हाट सेक्शन 19 is all about. Now, how we judiciary people who are associated with have been blinded, I do not know, because this section 19 is in clear violation of judicial review, and it seems there is no argument so far has been made from judiciary side as to why this should not be held as violation of constitutional provision or basic structure doctrine, which is again judicial review part of it. Second is 17A. Now this amendment it came in 2018, and this blatantly protects and shield politicians from you know anything and everything. And section 19, in a way, it takes both executive and legislative, but 17A has been brought specially to protect legislate people from legislative branch. Now, again, that thief story is still applicable in this case as well. Uh, I do not know the reasoning or the rationale behind having 17A, because already 19 was there, and there are several litigations before Supreme Court challenging both Section 19 and 70A, and it is Supreme Court, so we never know when there will be a proper judgment or verdict or review of that provision. If it happens in our lifetime, we'll be thankful. Now, as I already said, that these provisions violate not one, not two, but three fundamental principles of our constitution or democracy. The principle of judicial review, then you have equity principle, and then equality principle, which is under Article 14. So, three constitutional fundamental provisions have been violated, but no one has raised any voice, from judiciary in terms of why these two provisions cannot be held in violation of these constitutional provisions. And as I said, that over the years, as we have seen, when it comes to giving justice to the common people, uh, and the kind of power which are required to give justice to the commoners. I'm not talking about justice to the bureaucrats and the politicians and other people, but the common citizens, those laborers, those farmers, those middle class IT people, and all that. And in that power, it seems every year is getting diminished and diminished, and no one is talking about it. And even judiciary, can be seen sort of giving blindness to all these various curtailment that is happening or that has been happening over the years. Judiciary is often quite vocal when it comes to moral subjects. A lot of things make a front line of newspapers, talking about marriage institution, uh, gay institution, talking about democracy, all those idealistic propositions. But when it comes to physical, tangible aspects of legislation, uh, you know, don't see much sounds there. Way forward, though, I am not very, optimistic about it. But I think judiciary needs to raise their voice, needs to look into these provisions in the light of constitutional ethos, through the lens of democratic values, and you know uh, apply those principles accordingly, so that uh, somewhat justice can be done to the people of this nation. So I think that overall, you know, puts my argument, put forward the summary of my argument in terms of this PC Act. If any of you have any question, I would happy to try and answer it. Thank you. Thank you so much.